The Sons of Antaeus are a loyalist chapter of the Adeptus Astartes, created during the course of the 21st Cursed Founding. Little information regarding the chapter is known to exist within Imperial records, as it would appear that the majority of records pertaining to the chapter, such as their various battlefield honors and victories, have been lost, or otherwise expunged for one reason or another. Because of this, it would initially appear as if the Sons of Antaeus have only officially participated in but a single military campaign over the course of their existence. This sole and, so far, only formally documented account of the chapter gathering en masse was during the events of the Third Inter-Guild War of the Inca sector. In 850, Millennium 41, the ruling mercantile elite of the Inca sector, known within official records as the Guild Fathers, would request military aid from Imperial forces, following the appearance of a vast pirate fleet which had begun to run rampant throughout the sector. It would eventually be revealed that these pirates had in truth been sponsored by the many business rivals of the Guild Fathers in order to target their holdings specifically in an attempt to weaken them both politically and financially. Thankfully for the Guild Fathers, their pleas for aid would be answered by the Sons of Antaeus, whose swift and brutal actions would allow the Guild Fathers to finally regain control of the sector and, presumably, administer the Emperor's justice to their business rivals. Despite this particular conflict being the only officially recognized instance of the Sons of Antaeus taking the field of battle, a number of eyewitness accounts have reported warriors matching the chapter's description throughout multiple theaters of war. One such instance would be reported by Captain Rachman of the Subjugators chapter. During a battle against a vast host of Eldari corsairs, Rachman's forces would sustain heavy casualties, thanks to the intense firepower and maneuverability of the Eldari's Falcon and Wave Serpent grav tanks. As Rachman and the surviving warriors under his command prepared to make their last stand, a strike force of Astartes bearing the livery of the Sons of Antaeus would attack the Eldari from behind, forcing the Xenos to turn their attention towards this new and unexpected threat. Despite becoming the full focus of their enemy's ire, the Sons of Antaeus remained undaunted in their assault, holding fast and seemingly all but invulnerable in the face of such intense firepower. With the Eldari distracted, Captain Rachman would begin rallying his battle brothers before launching a counterattack, catching the Eldari in a devastating crossfire and utterly eradicating them. Before Rachman could express his gratitude for their aid, the Sons of Antaeus would depart from the battlefield, leaving almost as swiftly as they had arrived. While the Sons of Antaeus appear to rarely gather en masse in any official capacity, the chapter is nonetheless known to induct individual warriors into the ranks of the Specialist Space Marine chapter, known as the Death Watch, with such individuals often being the sole reminders of the chapter's very existence in the eyes of others. Despite the general lack of information regarding the chapter, the Sons of Antaeus appear to be fully aware of their genetic heritage, as the chapter is officially recognized within Imperial records as being an Ultramarine successor chapter. As a cursed founding chapter, the Sons of Antaeus are noted to display a number of unique physical quirks which set them apart from other Astartes. In this case, the Sons of Antaeus are noted for being incredibly large and resilient, with one such individual, a member of the Death Watch named Yearn, being described as standing a full head taller than other Space Marines. Indeed, it was thanks to the almost unnatural toughness demonstrated by the chapter's warriors, which allowed the Sons of Antaeus to withstand the unrelenting firepower unleashed by the Eldari, as previously mentioned within Rachman's report. While the chapter's warriors may be famed for their sheer size and hardiness, the exact reason as to how and why remains somewhat unclear. So what could be the reason behind the seemingly unnatural size and extreme durability of the Sons of Antaeus? The first, and admittedly most likely possibility, is that the chapter's gene seed boasts a number of modified implants, specifically that of the osmodular and biskupia organs. The purpose of these two organs is to release a series of hormones directly into the body of aspirant Space Marines, affecting the ossification and reinforcement of an Astartes skeletal structure, and stimulating the growth of their musculature respectively. It is due in part to these particular organs that a Space Marine is able to become larger, stronger, faster, and tougher than a typical baseline human. If these two particular organs were somehow modified prior to the chapter's creation, in order to become more active when compared to those sported by a typical Space Marine, then this could very well explain as to why the Sons of Antaeus produce warriors that are larger and more durable than those of other chapters. After all, the entire purpose of the 21st founding was to perfect and improve the gene seed of various Space Marine gene lines, despite such efforts ultimately producing what can best be described as less than favorable results in the majority of cases. As such, it's not entirely outside of the realm of possibility for the Sons of Antaeus to be the recipients of modified Osmodula and Biscopia organs in order to augment the strength and toughness of the chapter's warriors. Another possibility behind the size and toughness of the Sons of Antaeus is that instead of being a true Ultramarine successor chapter, the chapter's gene seed is derived from one of the Traitor legions, specifically the 14th legion of the Legiones Astartes, the Death Guard. Of the original Space Marine legions, the Death Guard, much like the modern-day Sons of Antaeus, were synonymous with extreme resilience and stubborn endurance, able to shrug off wounds that would cripple the warriors of other legions, which in turn allowed them to conduct a steady, yet near unstoppable advance upon the enemy before cutting them down. Indeed, the similarities between the Death Guard and the Sons of Antaeus have not gone unnoticed by those within the Imperium itself, for as detailed within Chapter Approved 2004, a number of observers have noted that the resilience of the Sons of Antaeus is certainly reminiscent of that exhibited by the Death Guard. Alternatively, instead of being descended from the Death Guard, it's possible that the Sons of Antaeus were created utilizing gene seed derived from the 4th legion of the Legiones Astartes, the Iron Warriors. Much like the Death Guard, the Iron Warriors were also famed for their hardiness and toughness, being perfectly designed for both trench and siege warfare. While the toughness of the Death Guard may be better known than that of the Iron Warriors, it is worth noting that the gene seed of the 4th Legion had been deliberately engineered to imbue its warriors with a greater degree of physical durability, as shown with the following quote from the novel Deliverance Lost.
Take this one, sample 4, as an indicator. We have managed to identify at least 6 unique subcomplexes and protein strands geared towards physical durability, above and beyond that found in the others. In the same sample, there is a dearth of certain enhanced genes that, in our estimation, boost the cytoarchitectonic structure responsible for the development of nociceptors and proprioceptory function. The deficiency seems to be deliberate.
However, while the idea of the Sons of Antaeus being descended from one of the Traitor legions is indeed an interesting one, outside of the admittedly vague comparisons to such legions, there is little else to support this particular possibility. Another possibility is that the size and toughness of the Sons of Antaeus is not the result of their gene stocks being deliberately altered, but that they are simply the result of a beneficial mutation. While mutation is typically regarded throughout the Imperium as being impure and debilitating, there are rare instances where sporting a mutation can instill a number of benefits to those that have them. As such, if the gene stock of the Sons of Antaeus simply mutated in some way to grant them enhanced size, strength and toughness without any other additional or detrimental side effects, then it is potentially possible that the Adeptus Mechanicus may simply choose to overlook such defects, or that such mutations are within the limits of what is considered to be an acceptable level of genetic degradation and variation. The final major possibility regarding the Sons of Antaeus is that the chapter were themselves one of the earliest examples of what would eventually come to be known as Primaris Marines. The main reason for this particular train of thought comes from the fact that Primaris Marines are noticeably larger, stronger, and more durable when compared to a typical baseline Astartes. While Primaris Marines would not officially be revealed to the Imperium until the culmination of the 13th Black Crusade and the subsequent return of the Ultramarines Primarch, Reboot Gilliman, the seeds of their very creation would be sown shortly after the events of the Horus Heresy, almost 10,000 years earlier. Belisarius Cawl, an Archmagos Dominus of the Adeptus Mechanicus, who had been charged by Gulliman with overseeing the Primaris project, would develop a singular prototype warrior named Alpha Primus, who effectively served as a proof of concept for the entire Primaris project. However, the methods utilized in the creation of Alpha Primus were themselves completely different to those experienced by true Primaris Marines, with Alpha Primus having his very physiology rewritten at a genetic level, as opposed to being merely subjected to surgical alteration. Because of this, it's entirely possible that the Sons of Antaeus were themselves the first true examples of Primaris Marines, intended to be, for lack of a better term, field-tested, so that Call could make note of any inherent flaws that may exist within this new breed of Astartes and eliminate them from the Primaris genome entirely. The only major problem with this particular possibility, however, comes from the fact that the Sons of Antaeus have inducted members of their chapter into the Death Watch. If a Son of Antaeus in service to the Death Watch were to sustain serious injuries in battle, it would fall to the chapter's apothecaries to tend their wounds. It is also worth noting at this time that Primaris Marines are seen to sport a number of additional organs which a typical baseline Astartes lacks: the Magnificent, the Belisarian Furnace, and the Sinew Coils. Of these, the most likely to be encountered by an apothecary would be that of the Sinew Coils, which are a series of metallic cables that are interwoven into the very musculature of a Primaris Marine, granting them both enhanced strength and physical resilience in comparison to other Space Marines. As such, while admittedly not impossible, it seems somewhat unlikely for the Sons of Antaeus to have been, essentially, prototype Primaris Marines. While it is potentially possible that the Sons of Antaeus, if they were indeed prototype Primaris Marines, simply lack the sinew coil implants at this particular point in time, given that this organ is partially responsible for the enhanced physical durability demonstrated by Primaris Marines, and that the Sons of Antaeus were also described as being incredibly resilient, even by the standards of other Space Marines, such a notion would still appear fairly improbable. In either case, whenever the Sons of Antaeus take to the field of battle, the enemies of man will no doubt quake in terror against a foe that appears to be nigh impossible to bring down. What do you think? Leave a comment below, and thanks for watching.